This course covers statistical process control from entirely practical approaches. It takes you from the concept of a process and a system to control charts to process capability analysis and finally to the Six Sigma applications in business and manufacturing. The speaker and author of this course is one of the top statisticians and quality control experts, particularly in the fields of textiles, cotton processing, nonwoven, spinning, weaving, knitting, and apparel industries. Dr. Yehia Elmogahzy was a professor of statistics, statistical process control, and quality control for 25 years at Auburn University, Alabama, USA before he led his own consultant company in 2013. This is only a very brief review of the course, which expands over 50 hours.
Early on we discussed the product life cycle, and the product life cycle consisted of many phases, basic phases: the initiation of the product, the growth area, then the maturity and saturation, and then the decline. One can apply the concept of life cycle to the performance of a product, and that's a very neat way to put the performance of a product. This is what I call the consumer fit product or service. That is how the product or service interact with the consumer and how the consumer respond to that. There are ways to judge that. First, the stability, the maximum rate of initial self-learning. Most products these days should be easy to use, and frankly that has been a major issue in recent years with all the wide range of electronics presented, from DVD to VCRs to TVs to computers and all types of electronics. The initial self-learning is a very critical feature, because if the product is easy to use, it is what I call a dummy proof, meaning you don't need to read a lot of manual instructions and all of that, then the rate of initial self-learning will be high. So maximum rate of initial self-learning during the acquaintance period of a product. You buy a product and you have no idea how to run it, and the rate of initial self-learning is very important. And I need to underline the term self-learning, because you definitely do not want too much instructions, complicated instructions, that makes it very difficult for the user to use the product. After all, this user can be an illiterate person, or it can be a highly educated person, so you really never know. Stability of the design capability index, We discussed the design capability index before, and the very important issue during the full use period of a product is how the specification matches the design capability tolerance over the use, because as we know, things will deteriorate and things will depreciate. So did we design a product so that even over a certain period of time the design tolerance will still match the specified expected tolerance by the consumer? Then the third issue is optimum product performance level during the full use period and until the product wears out, meaning that the product will not be shaky or inconsistent in its performance. Here is the so-called performance life cycle. And as you notice here, it looks very much close to the product life cycle we discussed before, except we're going to divide the performance life cycle into three main phases. It's the acquaintance period, the full use period, and the wear out period. The first phase is what we call it acquaintance period. This is the learning period. You buy a product and now you are trying to learn this product, and it can be a self-explanatory. Then you learn the tricks of the product, and how fast this happens is a measure of the satisfaction of the consumer, for sure. You see some consumer that buy some electronics, and when they go to the store they pay a lot of money for this equipment simply because the salesman described a lot of technical features. Then they take the product home and they may not even use 5% of these features. And then we say, well, it's their fault. They should have read the manual. No, that's no longer the case. It is the fault of the manufacturer. It's very important in the acquaintance period that the rate of learning be high. This is expressed here by this angle. And organizations via consumer research and the market research and also via internal testing using amateur customers can easily compare between two products when it comes to the rate of learning. It's very important as we move into the full use period that the design specs should stay within the specification tolerance. That is a design capability index of greater than 1, as we mentioned before. At least during the full use period and prior to the wear out period. A design capability index of greater than 1 would mean that the product is performing at its optimum level all the time. Of course, obviously, with some electronics, maintenance will be required. When you buy a car, you do not expect that the DCI will always be 1 if you don't change the oil on the car, for example. So basic maintenance of products ought to be clarified to the consumer, because if you don't meet the basic maintenance requirement, then more than likely the design capability index will become less than 1 or will become poor, and this has to be very clear to the consumer. All of these aspects, or all of these aspects, the acquaintance period, the full use period, are factors of the product type, how complex the product is, the extent of ease of product use, whether it is inherently complex and only sold for customers that of high level of qualification, or it is for household use and stuff like that. Then you need to understand or judge the rate of learning in that view. Consumers' ability to use the product, the issue of oil change, the issue of basic maintenance have to be clarified, and these are all factors that may vary from one product type to another. Let us just compare here two products. And suppose that they are the same product, two different types of TVs, for example, or two different types of cars, or two different types of computers. And you can see here that product A has a high learning rate in the acquaintance period, as demonstrated by the higher angle, meaning as soon as the consumer buy the product, they learn it so quick because it has a built-in features that are self-explanatory, that allows the consumer to understand the features very easily and to start to use it. While product B is much slower than product A. So we have two products. One is easy to learn, easy to use, with higher rate of acquaintance, and the other one is slow. Now, typically when the consumer does not know or does not understand how to use a product, or if the product is difficult to understand, the consumer gets very frustrated. So as a result of that, they throw away the manual and they start doing their own things, and quite often they abuse the device at the start, at the very beginning. And this is a way to really lead to a design capability index that is less than 1, because they use the device for applications that are not intended to. So as a result of that, you will see that for a product like that that was difficult to understand in the beginning, you may have this situation here where the design capability index is less than 1, and the one in the top, the design capability index, will be greater than 1 by virtue of the fact that it was easy to learn, easy to handle, no abuse there. So here is another aspect of the design capability index. Is quite often a misuse of the device will result in a poor design capability index, simply because in the initial design we did not make sure that the product is easy to use, because if it's not easy to use, it will be easy to abuse. And if we go to the wear out phase, we will see that the product that was associated with a slow learning and led to a poor design capability index is more than likely will wear out before the product that was easy to learn, had optimum performance during the use. So one way to prolong the performance life cycle of a product is to make sure that the product not only easy to learn, but also self-explanatory in its maintenance, so that it can keep its performance over the surface life at optimum level.